Good evening. The Eastham Conservation Commission will hold a fully remote public meeting on Tuesday, June 24th at 6 p.m. pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, MGL Chapter 30A, Sections 18 to 25, Open Meeting Law, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 155 of the Code of the Town of Eastham Wetlands Protection Bylaw. This meeting is being broadcast on Public Access Channel 8 and streamed on the town website at www.eastham-ma.org and on YouTube. It will be rebroadcast on Channel 8 and meeting videos will be available on YouTube. Before we begin, a quick reminder, while our meetings are relatively informal, the Commission uses a simplified version of Robert's Rules. The chair runs the meeting and everyone should speak through the chair after being recognized. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak. We allow discussion between commissioners, staff, and applicants and may extend that to abutters. For NOIs and RDAs, the applicant will present first, followed by discussion with the commission and staff. Once the commission questions have slowed, abutters will have a chance to speak, followed by other members of the public as time allows. The chair may set time limits if needed. Please keep your microphone muted unless it is your turn to speak, and let the chair know if you plan to record the meeting. Most importantly, please be respectful of others so we can keep the meeting productive and focused. I'm going to take attendance and then we can begin. Janet Benjamin is off tonight. Is Joanne Cossett? Not here. Greg Douglas?
Here.
Mike Harnett?
Here.
Chuck Wagner?
Here.
And Karen Stress. I am here. So we have a very slim quorum of 4 tonight. And before we get going, the town is undertaking an open space and recreation survey, which will be available until the end of June. If you're interested in sharing your thoughts on these town services and future directions, you can find the survey on the town website or through the town's Facebook page. Okay, first up tonight, we have a presentation on 10 Cartway South conservation restriction, and I believe Mark Robinson is here to speak on that. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mark Robinson, the Executive Director of the Compact of Cape Cod Conservation Trusts. And I'm here tonight to represent both the Eastham Conservation Foundation and the landowner, Joanna Buffington of 10 Cartway South. Dr. Buffington would like to donate a conservation restriction on her 2.1 acre property up against the marsh there at the mouth of Herring River. And she's particularly interested in preserving the habitat for the diamondback terrapin, which, as you know, is a state listed threatened species. The terrapins come right up into the side and make nests, and it's been very well documented over many years. So this is an effort that is continuing the town's effort to protect diamondback terrapin nesting habitat. You may recall that the Eastham Conservation Foundation worked with the town about 10 years ago now to preserve 2 building lots in the Duck Meadow subdivision. And this is a similar effort to, in this case, instead of having to buy very expensive waterfront property, the landowner is donating this perpetual conservation restriction. So we're here tonight to seek the Commission's review and recommendation, we hope support, to the Select Board. So the Select Board has the statutory interest in reviewing the property and the conservation restriction to see whether it meets the public interest. The format of the conservation restriction has been submitted to your board and has been reviewed and approved by the State Division of Conservation Services. So it's ready to move through the approval process, and we look for your endorsement tonight.
Thank you.
I should say that Dr. Buffington is here, as well as the president of the Eastham Conservation Foundation, Henry Lind.
So I should say that the Commission is very familiar with the property at 10 Cartway, as Joanna has been before us several times to permit a notice of intent to protect that area for diamondback terrapins. And I think we're quite knowledgeable by now about how productive that particular location is for
Great.
terrapins. So let me see if the commission has any questions for you. Anybody? No. Okay. So we were looking for a simple statement. I think you gave us some text for that. Let me see if I put that. So you were looking for something very simple, like a motion. The Conservation Commission has reviewed the proposed conservation restriction for 10 Cartway South and finds that it would be in the public interest and recommends that the select board approve it on behalf.
That'd be great if the board so chooses.
Okay. Would somebody like to make such a motion?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Mike,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate your
Okay.
time. Good luck.
We appreciate Joanna doing this
Thank you.
and all the work you've all put in.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Okay. Next, we have a public comment period. If anybody wants to make any comments about items not on the agenda, if you would raise your hand. Okay, I don't see anybody. Now we have a continuation of request for determination of applicability filed by Gail Bedoukian. Applicant proposes to flush cut 23 Japanese black pine trees and planting beach grass at property located at 18 Horton Way, map 07, parcel 493A. And the applicant has continued this until July 8th. Next up is administrative review filed by Frederic Leary. Applicant proposes to remove 3 trees at property located at 153 Brownell Road, map 23, parcel 001. Somebody here? Hi, Rick.
Good evening, Karen, Madam Chairperson.
So if you could identify yourself for the record and maybe just run us quickly through your project.
Yeah, this is Rick Leary. I live at 153 Brownell Road. I currently have well that was drilled not on my property and needs to be moved onto my property. A survey was commissioned to choose the location. Location selected is in the brush between my property and the abutting property. And in order to drill the well and tie into the whatever you call it, the water system to the house, 3 small trees need to be removed. And it's within 100 feet of the coastal bluff, as is my entire property.
So were you proposing any mitigation for the 3 trees?
I'm happy to discuss it with you. The state of the lot is that it probably will last 5 years. So mitigation might not be the best use of space and time.
That probably makes some sense. We've been looking at the property next door as well. Alex, you were out there for a site visit. Anything you want to share?
Yeah, the 3 trees that are marked for removal, they're of modest size, 2 oaks, 1 pitch pine. It's amongst a very wooded area of the parcel. So I think given given that aspect of the lot, and as Rick mentioned, this is relatively short-termed. As far as mitigation goes, perhaps it's not as important in this situation. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay. Any questions from the commission? Okay. Then if we might have a motion to approve with special conditions for utility upgrade condition.
So moved.
And a second?
second,
Okay, Mike,
yes,
Chuck,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
me? Yes. Okay, your permit's approved. Thank you. And
Thank you
nice
so
to
much.
see you.
Have a good night.
Okay, next is amended order of conditions filed by the Bull Family Trust for SE 19-1911. Applicant proposes to reduce size of the accessory dwelling unit and deck, eliminate the front porch, ship shell drive to the south, and add a 4-foot wide walkway at property located at 100 and 110 Ellis Road, map 22, parcel 12 and 13. Bob Reedy, you're on.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, Commission members. Bob Reedy, engineer with J.M. O'Reilly and Associates. Here representing Edward and Amy Bull. We're the property owners of 100 and 110 Ellis Road. You guys probably remember this property. We were here earlier this year for a notice of intent and were approved at the second meeting for this proposed ADU that the Bull family is proposing on their lot. Because of recent changes to the zoning bylaws before they were able to get the special permit and building permit, the ADU needs to be reduced in size in order to comply with the new zoning bylaw regulations. So that's actually the reason that we're back in front of you here today asking for an amended order of conditions. The ADU has been reduced in size from 1,152 square feet to 900 square feet in order to comply with the zoning regulations. The proposed deck, which was facing along the coastal bank side of the building, has also been reduced in size. The proposed front porch along the driveway side of the building has been eliminated along with the front step. The proposed shell driveway, which was previously lined up with the front step, and porch, has instead been shifted to the south so that it aligns with the side entrance, which is now the main entrance for the building. It's essentially the same size, which is just shifted to the south, so no real change in size or footprint there. And then just to make the access a little bit more clear, now that there's no front, a 4-foot wide shell walkway from the driveway to the ADU entrance is proposed as an addition from what was previously there. As a result of these changes, the square footage within the 50-foot buffer zone of disturbed area is being reduced by approximately 100 square feet. And then the total square footage within the 100-foot buffer zone is being reduced by approximately 450 square feet as a result of these changes. In terms of what's not changing, the planting plan and land management plan remains the same. We're not reducing the amount of mitigation to match the lesser amount of disturbance. It's just remaining the same as what was previously approved. The limit of work remains the same, and the proposed combined IA septic system also remains the same. So really the changes are limited to reducing the size of the ADU. We did provide a sketch plan along with the revised site plan, which just shows in red the previously approved footprint relative to the new proposed ADU footprint. As you can see, the building almost entirely fits within what was previously approved. The only area that we're coming outside of the footprint is we're moving 3 feet closer to the existing dwelling, but we're not moving closer along the line of the building face to the coastal bank or moving closer to the road either. So in terms of the footprint, we're largely staying within what was previously approved. I discussed this with Alex after we realized we needed to make these changes, and it seemed like what made the most sense was to come back with an amended order of conditions request. So that's why we're here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Ed Bull is also on the call as well, so he can answer any questions you may have for him.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions. Alex, you were out at the site today. Any comments you want to make?
No real comments to provide. It's a reduction in square footage, as Bob mentioned, so it seems like a pretty straightforward.
Any comments from the commission? No. Okay, so if we might have a motion to approve the amended order of conditions.
So
So
moved.
And a second,
Second.
Mike,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Well, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, you have your hand.
Yes, can I ask who first that? I heard Mike twice.
Oh, so Chuck moved and Mike seconded.
Thank
Is
you.
that-
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah. Next up is a continuation of after the fact notice of intent filed by Charles and Carol Sardinini for a violation. Applicant proposes a gravel fire pit area and planting native species at property located at 70 Log Cabin Road, map 21, parcel 06J.
Good evening. Through the chair, I'm John O'Reilly, representing Carol and Charles Sardini. Charles and Carol are on the call in case I can't answer all the questions. We're here tonight for after the fact hearing. We are dealing with two wetland resources. One is well, three really, but one is a bordering vegetated wetland, a small inland bank, which is denoted on the plan of a green line. Flags 1 through 5 are the closest areas to the site. And we also have land subject to coastal storm flowage at elevation 12, and we've shown that as a bold dash line. So what we tried to do here is obviously the homeowners were wrong in their assumptions that they had lawn in their backyard, and they decided to construct a gravel fire pit area. Obviously, we're here tonight because they didn't get the necessary permits. So what we've tried to do is look at what was done, where it was done, and try to improve the property so they could hopefully keep their fire pit and gravel area. For those of you that were out there, this is not your typical patio with pavers in them. It's a pea stone surface gravel, very, very porous with a rectangle, with a fire pit within. And all of this area was previously grass. I did provide some photos of pre-construction to give the commission an idea what it looked like. There was one oak tree, and you can see it on one of the photos in the backyard in the same general location that we're proposing another tree to be planted. There was that one oak that was removed. So what we're proposing to do is to add back to the site 4 trees, 3 red maples, and I believe it's a shad. Flowering dogwood, both from the native species list. We are also proposing almost 50 shrubs of different varieties, most of which already exist on the property: sweet pepper bush, blueberry. So we do have, we are trying to propose a nice, robust planting plan. So how we looked at from a mitigation and performance standpoint, in the backyard, there is also currently wood chips that we're proposing to remove and then return it to grass. On one of the photos, you can see that the wood chips at one time extended past the gate and into the side yard in the northeast side. And over the years, the applicants have removed those wood chips and planted grass in its place. So what they would like to do is eliminate, again, part of the mitigation is to address the wood chips and eliminate about 670 square feet of wood chips. We are proposing a paver walkway from the fire pit area to the stairs and then to the outdoor shower. So in essence, we're looking at providing just about 1,100 square feet of mitigation of native plants and 4 trees, with the request that we keep the fire pit as is. So and one last thing before I take questions, I did line the There is a metal fence out there that fences in the entire backyard. It was there when they bought the property. They utilize it for their own little puppy. So what we would like to do is keep the fence, obviously, and then we were planting up against that fence, and it's almost like a filtering bed because the grade does gently slope towards the wetland resource. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. We did get a DEP number. I did give you a whole host of performance standards and how they apply. And I guess I'll stop talking and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so I think you did a very good job at addressing our concerns on the violation, and a really good set of vegetation that you're putting in there. So I'm satisfied with the project. Alex, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I'll second what you said, Karen. I just want to thank the homeowners and John O'Reilly for this submission, and I think the proposed mitigation is generous. So thank you.
Any comments, questions from the commission? No? Okay, so if we might have a motion to approve with special conditions for single family dwelling with landscaping.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Greg?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So enjoy your fire pit and your
Yeah.
lovely plants.
Thank you
Thank
so much. And
Thank
thank you
you.
to John.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great night.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Next, we have continuation of notice of intent filed by Nathan Nickerson and Susan Buckley. Applicant proposes to install a seasonal dock at property located at 30 Adams Way, map 11, parcel 187A. And Jason?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
For the record, Jason Ellis representing Nathan Nickerson. And so we had gone back to the drawing board and we did what we could to conform with the regulations that you have in place for the seasonal docks. So we reduced the length of the dock down to the 25 feet, which is the maximum under your regulation. And we're also looking at a water depth at the end of the dock of about 1.5 feet, 18 inches or so. So that meets the requirement as well. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them for you.
Okay, so I appreciate you going back to the drawing board and going through the dock regulations again. I do have a question because we do ask for a detailed assessment of potential resource impact. So maybe you could just talk us through what you think those might be.
Yeah, I don't know that there would be that many resource impacts. If anything, the area right now is it's used to launch a dinghy at this point. So I think the dock will actually, in essence, protect the resource area a bit because it'll eliminate the need to have to walk out into the water and put a boat in and disturb the ground and whatnot. So I mean other than setting the dock, you're not going to get daily people walking in the shallow water there. At that point, the activity will now take place on the dock. So so I think in terms of the impacts on the resource area that this would have, I think there's probably some more positive than there is negative, just because it'll kind of restrict to the activity to the dock area rather than actually in the water area. And then the dock itself too, it actually provides some habitat that there's a lot of largemouth bass and whatnot in there. And I think you'll find that there'll be some fish and turtles and whatnot that'll actually use the dock for protection and sunning and that kind of thing. So, but the area there, it's disturbed. It's the area in the pond itself is disturbed just from people walking in it and launching a boat and whatnot. So, I really don't
Okay.
think that there's a lot of impacts there that'll take place.
Okay, thank you. And then the other questions are, when the dock comes in and out of the water, it needs to have a storage location upland, not in the buffer zone.
That's
So
fine. I think
it would be,
we can designate a storage area that's up next to the house, outside the buffer zone. It would just basically be, due eastward of where it actually goes into the ground. They can pick up the pieces and store them like where the gable end of the house is. If you're looking at the site plan there, and that'll all be outside the buffer zone.
and the pieces will be installed and removed just by hand. Is that the plan?
Yeah, it's just two 8-foot sections and then a 4-foot section. So it's there's only 3 sections, so he can have his helpers what they do is they bolt together each section. So they would just unbolt them and then carry the sections up, and the sections are pretty light. I've helped a friend of mine down in Harwich who has the same dock system put his in. It's pretty light. With 4 people, you can carry the whole thing right up out of the water into the yard. So
Okay, so I'd like to see a notation on that and the upland storage location.
that's fine.
On the amended on the site plan.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Any questions from the rest of the commission? Alex, anything from you? Okay, so if we might have a motion to approve with special conditions for freshwater docks with the notation to be added on dock installation and storage to be submitted to Alex after the hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Chuck,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Mike,
yes,
and I'm a yes. Okay, thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, and then we have continuation of notice of intent filed by Cape Holden Realty Trust. Applicant proposes to construct a new family dwelling at property located at 339 Dire Prince Road, map 19, parcel 111, and that's been continued until July 8th. Okay. And then we have the June 10th, 2025 minutes from our public hearing on docks. Anybody have any corrections, comments on that? So if we could have a motion to approve
so moved.
and a second.
Yes. Second.
Okay. Greg,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. Okay, and now we're up to the violation. 150 State Highway, Alex.
As outlined in our enforcement order to Mr. Vecchione, I continue to write $100 a day citations until the fence is removed. Mr. Vecchione is contesting the citations, so I do have a date in court. That'll be July 11th at 2 p.m. So I'm working with the police department on that. And with the Brownell property, Mr. Moots, I am continuing to write citations for him as well.
And nothing from him, no reply.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so liaison reports, I thought we'll skip them till the next meeting. Education and training updates, anybody? No, okay. Other discussion. So I do want to mention that the Forest Committee next meeting is now August 28th, so we'll need to make a decision on our appointee by our first meeting in August instead of September. And then at our next meeting, it will be the first meeting in July, and we need to do our annual committee organization. So I'd like to stay as chair. I don't know if somebody would like to take on, somebody else would like to take on chair, or if somebody would like to take on vice chair and somebody else to also take on clerk. So think about that. And this might be a good time to mention that I think it might be useful to, if the rest of you would consider getting a little on-the-job training. We don't have a deep bench of people who can jump in and have experience running the meeting. So if you might think about perhaps getting some practice, starting maybe with one administrative review and then trying an RDA and so on, just to get a little on-the-job training in case we need somebody to step in. So just a thought. And what else? Oh, right. And then Mike, this is your last meeting. So I just want to say thank you for all your service, both this round on the commission and in the past. And we're going to miss you.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, yeah.
It's been fun.
He said with a slight undertone. Yeah, but no, you've really contributed quite a lot to our discussion. So,
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you put a lot of time and energy into.
I'm not done.
oh, this is the last.
Expect emails.
We'll take them.
I just dumped all my stuff to my daughter, who's joining the commission up in Westford.
Oh, that's cool. So she'll be calling you for, hey, Dad, I need advice on
She's already done that.
10.05. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Karen,
But,
can I make
yeah,
a comment?
of course.
This is from Mike. Hey, Mike. So I'm down at Ace Hardware and looking through stuff, and I took a look at the jugs of Roundup, and guess what? They don't have glyphosate in them anymore. Now it's been switched to triclopyr.
That's not safe either. That's not safe either. I have no problem with, I think the native plant movement is foolish, but I have no problem with you planting native plants. And then if you don't like the plant, cutting it down. Don't use poisons. That's my whole thing. I think if you look into the native plant movement, it doesn't make sense. And that's, I can deluge you with all kinds of studies, but
and you
I
have.
will do. I already gave it to my daughter, but I have it on the computer. But that's my whole thing was, it's like, if you want to fill your yard with roses, go and do it. I don't care. Is getting rid of what you call invasives. That was my issue. And using Roundup or whatever you want to use, there's nothing safe. The most biodiverse area in that entire property is around the roots, half an inch around every root. And when you use that stuff, you kill off the fungus, the nematodes, the springtails, you destroy it. So that's my last speech.
And a totally on brand fitting closing statement for you. So I will also mention that we're going to be planning a little exit party for Mike, a happy hour sometime in early July.
Ah, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be in touch for sorting out dates when Janet gets back from her vacation. And then finally, Alex and I were talking, and starting in July, we're going to go back to our pre-COVID procedure of actually stamping and signing approved plans. We had paused that. We've talked about getting back to it. So we're going to start doing that in July. Unless you all object.
No.
Okay.
And could you briefly walk through what that entails? Does each commissioner sign the plan, or?
No, that would be me, and I believe you and the applicant's representative.
Got it.
We have, Amy has a stamp in her drawer, I think, still for that. So that's the
I
procedure.
do.
Yep.
Okay.
Amy is the
Getting-
keeper of the stamps.
It's probably a little dusty and not as shiny, but
I'll shine it up for you, Karen.
oh, good. I knew you would. Okay. We're still looking for 2 people to fill our vacancies. So please share that with everybody you know. And I will be talking about that with the select board at their July 9th meeting. And with that, we finished really early tonight. So thank you,
Record.
everybody.
Thank you. And good luck, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you and
Yeah.
good luck. Good luck, Mike.
Yep,
We
thank you.
had, okay, so we just need a motion to adjourn
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Okay, Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Okay, thanks,
Bye-bye,
everybody. Good night.
everybody.
Night, everyone.
Good night.